The first most obvious way people get what they want in health, wealth, and happiness is they ask for it. And I know this may seem obvious, but the thing is, when we care about something, sometimes the scarier it is because the harder the rejection feels. And so it becomes a risk, and it requires courage to take that risk. It requires, and it wouldn't be my channel unless I said it, a level of nervous system capacity to be able to handle that rejection and disappointment. I mean, think about it. Has there ever been anything that you've really wanted, but you've had to ask for it? And the thought of possible rejection or disappointment is just too much, too scary to even bother. And so we decide that it's not important, that we don't want it, that it's not something we care about enough, when really we do want it. And this is how people get what they want, is they have the courage to ask for it, to take that risk. I remember back at the start of my career, I was not getting paid much at all for working way too many hours. And I was at a point where I was like, I really want to ask for a pay rise. Like, I really want to ask for a pay rise. And I was so scared. I was so afraid that I would get rejected. I was so afraid that I would somehow lose my job for even bothering to ask. I was so afraid that it would mean something about me, that I would suddenly have to do more when I was already doing so much work. And I got to this point where I realized that if I don't ask for a pay rise, I'm going to quit anyway. And so I might as well ask for a pay rise. I might as well see what happens and deal with the consequences of rejection, of disappointment. And so I threw myself through that fear and just asked. And it was yeah, of course. So I had essentially worked up all this fear for no reason, when in the end it worked out. But sometimes it actually doesn't work out. And when you get that disappointment and get that rejection, you need to get back up and go again. And when you feel like you can't get back up and go again, this is where the nervous system work really comes in. Because when you have a bigger nervous system capacity, all it means is an ability to hold the negative, to hold the bad, and be okay with it. My more recent fly in, fly out job, I used to speak so highly of it, to the point that it sounded like a dream job. To everyone, they were just like, that sounds so good. It sounds like you have it so good. Because I would talk about how great the people were to work with, how my roster, I only had to work half the year. I got paid a lot of money. And then the thing is, someone really close to me also got a similar job, and they shared all their struggles with me. And I wasn't surprised by the struggles because I had experienced those struggles as well. And I realized how much I had been making the best of a bad situation, or I've been making the best of any situation, extracting the good, learning from the lessons. And I realized the benefits and successes outweighed the struggles, and it made those struggles feel like a part of the success. And so people who always get that what they want, they have an ability to extract the good from any situation, and to be able to see struggle as part of success, not as a reason for them not being successful. There was a point in my life where I was addicted to chaos, but I didn't realize it because my relationships seemed healthy. I wasn't doing anything addictive. I didn't like hanging out with people that created drama. And so in my mind, I was doing everything healthy. But what I realized is I would crave really fast music. I would go to places like India because I could just stand in the chaos. And I remember being there, standing on one of the buildings in India, and there's all the traffic going around me, all the beeping, all the noise, all the smells, and I felt so calm in the chaos. And it wasn't till later that I realized, that I found out about attachment styles. And normally attachment styles are only talked about in relation to human. But the thing is, we can have attachments to experiences, to habits, to outcomes as well. And it doesn't necessarily mean that, going to chaotic places and listening to fast-paced music is a bad thing. These were my outlets. But what I realized is how much I craved those outlets, those chaotic outlets. And when it became a problem was when when things in my life were so healthy that I looked for reasons to disrupt them, that I looked for reasons to disrupt something that was going so well because I craved that chaos. And so getting what you want, getting the health, wealth, and happiness you want is one thing, but then actually keeping it is another. And it's having that healthy attachment to things that are healthy, that are required to maintain the things you really want and that are great for you. Because when we have either avoidant or anxious attachment to things, then the healthier it is, the more uncomfortable it can be. And this is where self-sabotage comes in, where something that is actually best for us is uncomfortable because it is so healthy, because we're not used to that healthiness. And breath work really helped shift this for me, to start noticing those cravings towards disruption and chaos, and then to be able to hold the discomfort of that craving without acting on it, and therefore not sabotaging a good thing. One of my past managers and mentors, who was a successful businessman, gave me a piece of advice that I've always remembered. And he explained how he had built connections before he needed them. He built connections before he was successful. He identified the people that were future leaders, that were future decision makers before they even identified it in themselves. And so when he inevitably became successful and those people became decision makers and people of influence, then the decision to do business with him was a no-brainer. And so the people who always get what they want, they've built networks before they've needed them, and they don't initially dismiss people or ideas because they aren't obviously successful. They see the potential in people before they see the potential in themselves, and they see the potential in ideas before anyone else realizes. Don't only focus on how successful it is, but also the potential of how successful something or someone could be. The other thing is they ask themselves better questions, like, why not me? How can I get it? What resources do I need? What do I need to learn? And they look for reasons to do it, as opposed to trying to find evidence not to do it. At almost all stages in my career, I was generally the only female, youngest, and the least experienced. And I would be asked to apply for leadership opportunities, and I'd be up against much more experienced people. And so I really had to dig deep. I really had to ask myself these self-reflective questions to figure out reasons why I was the best person for that leadership position, because I didn't have the evidence of years of experience. And so I really had to reflect on my character traits and my attributes and the things that I had done. And so what this really taught me is the power of finding reasons why you are the person, why you are the best person for that opportunity, for that role, for that idea. Because unless you hire a coach, of course, no one else is going to find those reasons for you. And so you need to do it for yourself. But the thing is, once you do, you will have that foundation and those excuses why you can to fall back on. You can use those reasons to disprove any doubt that comes up. And so they use the belief that they can to overcome the doubt that they can't. And they don't give up when something gets hard or when something doesn't work out. In the book, The Dip, Seth Godin talks about giving up or quitting strategies that are dead ends, but to never quit the goal. Just because a strategy or a experiment or an attempt didn't work out, it doesn't mean giving up on the whole goal. It means redirecting. It means trying again. The people who always get what they want have gone through periods where they weren't getting what they want, but they kept going until they did. One of the biggest secrets to career success or even business success, which I think is becoming less of a secret now, is that visibility leads to opportunities. And visibility doesn't always mean, having a social media account and constantly being in everyone's faces and being loud, but it does mean being engaged, being the one to speak up, to say something, to take up space, to be okay with being noticed and being remembered. I've never been able to use competence as a reason for my success or an excuse for not being successful, because in a lot of my career, I was never the most competent person, but I was always the most engaged. I always said something, even if it wasn't the smartest thing. And what's wild is people remember you for that. And when they remember you, they think of you when they need a problem solved. And so do what you need to do to get comfortable with speaking up, to get comfortable with being noticed and being remembered, because it's going to be one of the quickest hacks to getting what you want. When there is something you go after and you really want, for example, if there's a business idea you're working on, or there's a promotion you want, or anything that you really want, maybe an investment that you're really hoping will work out, for a period of time, there is the uncertainty that it won't. There's the uncertainty that it will work out, but at the same time, there's also the uncertainty that it won't work out. And the thing is that uncertainty can be so uncomfortable. And the problem is the certainty of failure is more comfortable than the uncertainty of success. And the thing is, you could be sitting in that uncertainty of success for however long. There is no time limit on it. And what can happen is that if you sit in the uncertainty for too long, some people will decide that they failed, decide that it's over, decide to give up to reach a level of uncertainty, because then it's like, at least I know I've failed, at least I can sit in the comfort of certainty knowing that I failed. Achieving that success you desire, achieving that wealth and that health and happiness desire requires being able to hold that discomfort of uncertainty for indefinite amounts of time until you reach the certainty of success. And so know that we all sit in that uncertainty of whether it's going to succeed or not. But the people that succeed are the ones that can sit in that uncertainty for even longer. And then they understand that every decision has a cost, that to choose one road means they're going to miss out on all the other roads. And this is easy if there's one core thing you want to do and a bunch of other things you don't want to do. But particularly in business, right? Maybe even in career, there's often the thing we really want, and then there's the nice to haves. And this I've learnt for myself recently, because I have my main business idea, which is Elite Resonance. And naturally, I have other business ideas that I would really love to pursue. And I've had to be really honest with myself and realize that if I'm going to pursue these other fresh, semi-new ideas, then I have to be honest with myself and realize that I am not pursuing the main business idea. And so I've really had to decide. It's like, okay, well, what am I okay with missing out on? What am I okay with missing out on? And what am I not okay with missing out on? Because the truth is, you can have anything, but not everything at the same time. And so understanding that there is going to be a cost to every decision, every business pursued, is going to help you realize what you do really want and to go after that and only that until you have achieved it. The thing is, we all want it to feel easier, more certain, and more fun. But while you're in the thick of it, while you're in the thick of going after what you want, it is going to feel hard. But the thing is, you've got to keep going, because one day you'll look back and realize how easy it was all along.